Hello and welcome to a very sunny and very snowy Airolo in Switzerland for the World Freestyle Junior Championships for 2026. Perfect conditions today ahead of this 4-day long competition, starting today, running over the course of the weekend. And it's the Mogul skiers who will get the World Junior Championships underway here on the Ladebe course at 195 metres in length at an angle of 26 degrees. And the conditions today perfect. It's about minus 1 degree, 1 degree thereabouts. Perfect conditions in this beautiful area hosted by the municipalities of Airolo and Quinto. That's how it looks in the summer. Equally as beautiful in the winter. In front of us now, snow as far as the eye can see and beautiful bluebird conditions are just ahead of the women's and men's finals here in the Mogul competition. We've come from fields of 35 athletes in the women's competition down to the top 16. The top 16 have made it through to this first round of the final. They will take one run each, and the top 6 of those first round finalists will make it through to today's super final, where they will ski again with another single run to decide today's medalists and the World Junior Championships in the Moguls. The event this weekend, of course, hosting all the freestyle disciplines of Moguls, dual Moguls. There'll be dual Mogul team competition as well. And, of course, just to the right of the Moguls slope there, we can see the Aerials Hill. Some preparation going on there on the landing ahead of competitions tomorrow for the aerialists, where they'll be competing in individual and team events. Now then, to get the competition underway in the women's event, Lena Persson for New Zealand, the first of the top 16. Remember, the athletes in this first round of the final looking for a place in the top 6, and the competition gets underway as Lena Persson gets the World Junior Championships underway on the skiers' left line. The judges at the bottom of the hill looking up at the Mogul skiers as they come down towards them and looking for the athletes to maintain a nice straight fall line from top to bottom of the course and putting in their 2 jumps. And it's a nice backflip truck driver from the Kiwi. Lena Persson there covering the distance in 24.95 seconds. So that gives her the time points of just over 11 points. We'll get the exact calculation of that in just a moment when we get the score, the graphics up from the judges. We've got 7 judges deciding the winners today. 5 of those judges scoring the turn points, and 2 of the judges scoring the air points. That's the jumps. Of course, the speed is then factored in to give an overall total for each athlete. And remember, it is the top 6 from this first round who will progress through to today's super final to ski again to decide today's medals. So awaiting the scores now for New Zealand's Lena Persson in this competition. The World Junior Championships that sees 357 athletes competing over the next 4 days, from the ages of 14 to 19 years old and representing 21 different countries. Lena Persson representing New Zealand and with a score there of 53.4 points. 11.13 was were the points that she got from that the time there. So on to the next athlete now then. This is Riku Nonobe of Japan, and there are problems after landing that first jump, veering from the fall line a little bit there. She's got the run back under control. That's a good recovery, but the judges will deduct points for that deviation from the fall line. Just after landing that first jump, she's in problems again as she comes into the second air. Once again, she manages to recover, pulls it away from the brink, gets the second jump in, but some risky moments there for the Japanese athlete. Riku Nonobo experiencing problems quite early on in the run. This is the later problem where she didn't quite stabilize and get into the rhythm of the bumps just as she came into that second jump. She managed to get inverted, but she wasn't exactly stable as she flew through the air there. So problems there, and deductions will be coming from the 7 judges, not only for the turns with that deviation from the fall line, but also for the jumps there, as they were slightly out of control, and she experienced problems on landing. So that will see the Kiwi Lena Persson remain in the top spot at the moment, and it's a 45.38 the score for Riku Nonobe of Japan. Like I say, Lena Persson of New Zealand still leads. Back up top, Vicky Roblin for Canada. And Roblin gets the first landing in clean. This is where it's important to get into the rhythm of that mid-section. The Canadian doing a reasonable job of it. 1 or 2 little breaks of form. The skis being pulled apart on 1 or 2 occasions there. But overall, not a bad run so far. Controlling the speed nicely as she gets into the second jump. And it's a front flip, a front somersault, a relatively unusual inverted maneuver, the front flip. 25.01 seconds for the Canadian to cover the 195 metres of this World Junior Championship mogul course today. And let's take a look. This is the second jump. That front flip. It's a bit of a blind landing. Your skis and legs are in the way as you come back down to the snow on a forward rotator like that. But the Canadian, Vicky Roblin, making a good job of that front flip, landing it clean as we await her scores from the 7 judges. The judges today drawn from Sweden, Korea, Armenia, Japan, Slovenia, Kazakhstan, and France. They are the 7 judges. 5 of them, remember, scoring the turn points. 2 of them scoring the air points. There's the overall total score for Roblin, 58.06, which puts her into the top spot. Remember, the top 16 in this first round of the final are looking for a place in the top 6. It's the top 6 who get to ski again in that super final today to decide the medals here at the Junior World Championships. Now, there is a helicopter on the first jump, an upright jump, not getting inverted, keeping it upright and getting a 360 degree of rotation into that jump, but some really nice turns on the midsection. This is Malia Torres of the USA making a real good job of the turns on the midsection. Straight lines a little bit perhaps in that bottom section of the course, 23.33. So it's a quite fast time. In fact, I think she is the fastest that we've seen so far. Here is the second jump. Backflip with an iron cross of the skis. A nice solid landing with a double pole plant. Like I say, the fastest time so far. Malia Torres there of the United States. Here at the Junior World Freestyle Championships in Airolo, Switzerland. Beautiful conditions today and some beautiful skiing on that midsection from the young American Malia Torres. Really getting into the rhythm of that midsection of bumps. With an upright 360 on the first jump and an inverted iron cross position on the second jump. So a good all-round performance from the American. The lead score at the moment, 58.06. That top spot occupied by Vicky Roblin of the Canadian team. And Torres there for Team USA is the first of the athletes to go through the 60 barrier. She goes into the top spot. Roblin down into second. Persson of New Zealand now in third. As we look back up top for the first of the Kazakh teams, Yulia Feklistova on a skier's right line and deviating from the fall line on a couple of occasions after landing that first jump. She's back into the rhythm of the midsection now, though, making a much better job of it. It's a good recovery. There will be heavy deductions, but she is making up turn points in the later section of that course. 24.55, not as fast as the likes of Malia Torres, who we just saw come down. And there was that deviation from the fall line, remember, just after landing that first jump. She put a couple of big-ish turns in. She stayed on her skis and didn't take too long to get back into the rhythm of that midsection. But the judges will make their deductions for that. 50% of the judges' scores are afforded for turn points, and then 25 for the jumps, and 25 for the speed. And that is a 59.58, so a good show from Feklistova of Kazakhstan as she slots up into second place. Lena Persson down in fourth, Riku Nonobe in fifth place. The first of the French athletes, the only French athlete in the women's top 16 at this stage. Lise Bertrand with a backflip truck driver on the first jump, puts the brakes on and controls the speed nicely on the midsection. That's the way to do it. Excellent skiing from Bertrand. Nice rhythm on the midsection, adhering to that fall line. That's the straightest line from top to bottom, as seen by the judges who are at the bottom of the course looking up. It's another invert on the second jump with an iron cross, and a great performance from Lise Bertrand of France there. 24.25 seconds, the time to cover the distance, and it's a big smile from Bertrand as she awaits her score. This the replay of the second jump. A backflip with an iron cross, a nice solid landing. Bertrand made her World Cup debut this season, and she was the winner of the World Cup 2 weeks ago in Finland. It's not the World Cup, the Europa Cup, I should say, in Finland 2 weeks ago. So Lise Bertrand of France, a mogul skier, very much on form as she gets her World Junior Championships campaign underway. That could be a pretty good score. And it is, I think, going to go through the 60-point barrier. Yes, it does. 61.38. Bertrand for France goes into the lead. As we look back up top for the next of the Canadians, Flavie Lamontagne getting ready to compete. 45.39, the current qualifying score to get into that top six. And it's a backflip truck driver from the Canadian. She's in the back seat, though, fighting for control of the run. She manages to get the run back under control, getting her weight a little bit further forward on the skis. She was just on the tails for a while there. 2 or 3 turns after that landing were a little bit out of control. It's a good recovery from the Canadian. It's a great second jump. 23.17. It is fast as well. 13.76 points that translates to for speed points. Those speed points, of course, added to the turn points, then added to the air points. That's the second air. Backflip with an iron cross. And the combination of all those 3 elements being required to achieve success in moguls, and they were all there from Flavie Lamontagne of Canada. A brilliant bit of skiing. There was just that 1 or 2 nervous moments as she landed that first jump where she was on the tails of the skis. But she did pull the run back under control. She put some fantastic turns in after that. It was a quick recovery, and it's a good score too. 61.55, particularly the speed points for the Canadian, helping her out there. She's the fastest down the course so far. Eden Kruger for the USA, next to ski. Competed last year at the World Junior Championships in Almaty, Kazakhstan. She finished 11th on that occasion. She is through to the top 16 today. In fact, qualifying in 9th position for this first round of the final. We've already seen her teammate, Malia Torres, put in a good run. Torres sitting in 3rd place at the moment. And that is the fastest skiing that we've seen over the distance. 22.97 seconds there from Eden Kruger, the fastest of the mogul athletes over the 195 meters of this course today. A brilliant bit of skiing from the American. That could well see a change at the top of the leaderboard. Her teammate scored 13.53 points for speed. Kruger there going over the 14-point barrier, specifically for the speed points. And like I say, that could see a change at the top, and it does. It's a brilliant score for Eden Kruger, 67.05. Jumps into the top spot ahead of Flavie Lemontagne of Canada, who's on 61.55. Remember, the athletes are just looking for a place in the top 6. It's the top 6 who get to ski in the superfinals. And right now, it's a 58.06 score that is required to get into that top 6. This is Karina Joachim of New Zealand, skiing on the far skier's left line and making a great job of those midsection bumps. Nice control into a back layout on the second jump. Keeps the turns going in the bottom section. It's a 23.7 points for the Australian, I should say, not the New Zealander. That is not a mistake that a commentator should be making. I do apologise. Karima Joachim of Australia. But she put in a reasonably fast time over the distance. And there were some great turns on that midsection too. 2 good jumps as well. So it was a good all-round performance. Like in all of the freestyle disciplines, it is not just a case of one aspect or another. All of the values need to be there. All of the skills need to be there. It's about turns, it's about speed, and it's about jumps. All the elements were there for the Australian Karima Joachim. A reasonably fast time. I don't think she'll challenge the lead spot of Eden Kruger of the USA, but she does go up into 62.2 points into second spot there. So, yes, a great performance for Karima Joachim of Australia there. Olivia Hedberg, next to ski for Sweden. Gets the run underway. There's the first jump. Back somersault. Deviations there on landing, though. She needs to stabilize it, and she does. So a couple of wobbles. The first 2 or 3 turns after landing were a little bit wayward, but now the run is under control, and she's racking up good turn points on that midsection. Once again, on the skier's left line. Keeps the turns going in the bottom. It's a fast time as well. 22.52. One of the fastest that we've seen, I think the fastest, in fact. Yes, that is the fastest over the distance that we have seen so far. Eden Kruger covered the distance just a little bit slower than that. Kruger currently leading on 67.05 points. And yes, that was a fast time for Olivia Hedberg there. There were 1 or 2 little deviations, as we've seen on a number of occasions, landing that first jump. That is one of the crux points of the Mogul run. That landing, and we saw a few problems there. So some deductions for turns as a consequence of that. Hedberg goes up into 6th place, sitting on the bubble there. Remember, it is only the top 6 that qualify for the super final today here at the Junior World Freestyle Championships. 16 women in this round of the competition from an initial field of 35. And it is only the top 6 finishers from this first round who get to ski again for the medals. Olivia Martin now for the USA. Controlling, or needing to control the run, but over she goes. She just didn't manage to get that landing in from the first jump. The first turn after landing, the second turn after landing were problematic. And then the rhythm of those bumps there coming up at the athlete so quick. These guys are covering this almost 200-meter course in about 22 seconds. So it gives you an idea of how fast those bumps are coming up. That's how it feels like they're coming up to the athlete. And the rhythm of that midsection is absolutely critical. And as I was just saying, the crux point of the Mogul run so often is that landing from the first air. And on that occasion, unfortunately, Olivia Martin of the USA not managing to connect properly on landing from that first jump. And unfortunately, skiing out of the course for a DNF. Her teammate, Victoria Johnson, is next to ski on the far right skier's line. Backflip with a truck driver grab of both skis. And there is a great example of how she gets into that midsection. She landed clean and she was straight into the rhythm of that midsection. This is excellent skiing from the American. Brilliant stuff. Here at the World Junior Championships, it's a nice clean second air. Just about gets the landing in. Manages to get some good turns in the bottom section. It's a fast time too, 22.38. Another brilliant performance from one of the American juniors today that could see another lead change at the top. This is the second jump that we see Victoria Johnson coming in for now. She was a little bit low on air, but she made a great job of getting the skis back underneath and into the landing. And then she banged in a couple of turns before that line. So making a good job of that. We've just seen Olivia Martin, her teammate, crash out. Unfortunately, the first victim of this World Junior Championships course. Well, Johnson slots into second place on a 65.65. So Americans in the top two spots now. Eden Kruger leads. Johnson there into second place. Karima Wakim of Australia in second spot. In third spot, I should say. The Americans coming at us fast now as Abby McLaren on the opposite side of the course. Skiers left line. Once they've chosen their line, they need to stick to that line. And McLaren doing a good job of that. Once again, some great turns from the American on the midsection of that course. Lofts up the jump, bigger than we've just seen from her teammate Victoria Johnson. More airtime. And once again, a good fast time. 22.93 seconds to cover the 195 meters of this course. The American juniors in this women's competition today at the Junior World Championships are in form. They're in the top two spots at the moment. Eden Kruger leads with a 67.05. Abby McLaren awaiting her score now, looking for a place, remember, in the top six. We have only got 3 athletes now remaining in this first round of 16. Only 3 remaining. So we know that the top 3 are guaranteed a spot. And McLaren, 68.73. Look at that. She smashes it into the lead. The Americans now in the top 3 spots. First, second, and third. McLaren, Kruger, and Johnson. As Lise Bertrand of France drops down to that bubble position of place number 6. 3 athletes now then remaining. This is Nova Nilsson on the same line. Skiers left. Nilsson for Sweden. 1 or 2 little form breaks on the midsection, but some good turns apart from that. A nice big backflip with an iron cross on the bottom jump as well. And a good fast time as well, 22.51. That's the not the second fastest time that we've seen today. The second fastest, I think, or third fastest, or almost exactly the same time as her teammate Olivia Hedberg, in fact. But certainly in the top 3 fastest times, let's just say that. So good time points for the Swede, Nova Nilsson. Here on the Puckelpiste, as the Swedes would call it. Nilsson awaiting her score. Looking, remember, for a place in the top 6. And she does it. She goes into the lead with a 68.91. Brilliant stuff from Nilsson. I don't know whether she's heard the score there yet. We've seen it. She wasn't too sure, but Nilsson there moves into the top spot, booking herself a place in that super final with only 2 athletes now remaining. Citrine Boychuk, the next of the athletes for the Canadian team. Problems on landing, though. Gets thrown onto the back seat. She can't control that midsection, and that is a costly mistake. She recovers it. She's back into the rhythm now, but this could be too late. She qualified for this final in second place. So one of the best earlier on today. But unfortunately, that mistake once again at the crux point in the run, just on landing of that first air. It's so difficult. The athletes get into the rhythm of those bumps. Then they have to take that first jump, which is about a quarter of the way down the course. And when they land that jump, the speed has increased. They're also dropping in from altitude. And the landing is absolutely critical. This is the second jump that we're looking at now. That was fine. But the problems for the Canadian, Citrine Boychuk, were on landing from the first jump. And with those big deviations from that fall line, just mistiming that midsection completely for the first 5 or 6 turns after landing. A costly mistake for the Canadian. And she's on a 49.1. She's out of the top 6, so she goes from being second best in qualifications down into 13th place. Now, that is a disappointment for the young Canadian, but certainly one to watch for the future. The last athlete down then in this top 16 for the women. This is Mio Tani, best in qualifications earlier on. Can she repeat the performance now that it matters? Looking for a place in the top 6, but almost some problems on landing. But she's made a super quick recovery there. That was brilliant skiing. The mistake came at the crux point once again. But did you see the speed of that recovery? Absolutely fantastic stuff from the Japanese junior. Keeps the turns going in the bottom section. 22.44, so it is a fast time for Tani. I wonder, though, that little mistake that we saw on landing from that first jump will throw up questions for the Japanese team as they await the score for the number 1 qualifier from earlier on today. That's the landing from the second jump. No problems there. It was that first jump where, once again, we just saw a little trip, but she recovered so quickly, and the rest of the run was good. It was a good, solid run, and it was fast. So she might just get away with this. She's looking for a place in the top 6. It's Flavie Lamontagne who's on the bubble, and she gets knocked down into 7th place as Mio Tani goes there from first place in qualifications up to 3rd place now. So she has booked herself a place in that top 6 super final. Karima Wakim of Australia holds on to her place in the super final in 6th place. That's how it stacks up. Nova Nilsson for Sweden. Abby McLarnon of the USA. Mio Tani, who we just saw ski, of Japan, slots in 3rd. Eden Kruger in 4th place. Victoria Johnson of the USA also in 5th. And Karima Wakim of Australia in 6th place. They will be today's super finalists. They get to ski again after the men have competed to decide their medals. So an exciting start to the World Junior Championships here in Airolo. The start of 4 days of action. It sees the 14 to 19-year-olds strutting their stuff on the freestyle courses. Aerials, Moguls, Dual Moguls, Dual Mogul team and Aerials team all on the cards over the course of the next 4 days. Fantastic conditions today for this Mogul competition, the single format version of the competition. At the weekend, the Mogul skiers will be going side by side in the dual Mogul format. But for now, it is the single format competition. The women's first round final concluded, and now it is the turn of the men to take to the course. The best of today's qualifiers, Ellis Moberg of Sweden. We've just seen his teammate, Nova Nilsson, of the Swedish team, take the win in that first round of the women's final, which means that she'll get to ski last as the athletes take to the course in reverse order of their qualifying positions. So 16 men then now to take to this World Junior course. Louis-Philippe Bougui of Canada will get the men's single format Moguls World Junior Championships underway for this final round 1. 16 men then once again looking for a place in the top 6 super final. Bougui for Canada opens up with a invert and twist on that top jump. Cork 7 and some great skiing on that midsection. Nice rhythm from the Canadian on the skier's left line, making a good job of this 195-metre long course. Let's take a look at the time as he crosses the finish line. 20.2 seconds. So not bad turn points. 13.85 that translates to when factored in against the pace set time. So there'll be the points that will be added to his turn points, which are in turn added to the jump points. And it was a good all-round performance, setting the standard for this men's final today. Louis-Philippe Bougui of Canada Does indeed Boogie on this course today as he awaits his score. One of 4 Canadians through to the top 16 today. The Canadians, of course, with a tremendous heritage in the freestyle events of moguls and aerials. Seven judges to decide the scores today, and it's over 70 points for Louis-Philippe Bouguy. 70.7 points. A good score to start the finals off. 16 men looking for a place in the top 6, let's not forget. Ryoma Hayashi of Japan. Next to go, Moguls, of course, incredibly popular back in his home nation of Japan. It's a back full twisting somersault, a little wobble on landing, but he's made a good recovery, but he's a little bit on the edge of control here. Perhaps a little bit in the back seat. 2, 3, 4 mistakes, and he loses the timing. Veers out of the fall line over the wrong jump, and the judges will put in some heavy deductions as a consequence. Ryoma Hayashi putting in an exciting run there. Possibly a little bit too exciting for his own liking, I suspect. That's the point where he jumped across from the inside skier's left line to the outside skier's left line. And the judges will mark that down heavily. So that'll keep the Canadian Louis Bouguy on the top spot with a 70.78. Keeping an eye on those speed points as well, as Bouguy covered the distance in 20.2 points. And the pace set time for the men's competition today, 18.93 seconds. That was a pace set run that was established earlier on in the day at 18.93 seconds. Bouguy, the Canadian, covered the distance, as I just said, in 20.2 seconds. So there's a factor where the judging criteria will compare Bouguy's time of 20.2 to the pace set time of 18.93 to arrive at a set of points for speed. And in Bouguy's case, it was a 13.85 points for his speed. Hayashi getting a 43.91 as we look back up top for the next of the Canadians, Quinn Unga. Starting out on the same line as the Japanese athlete we just saw, but maintaining that position on the inside skier's left line, getting 2 good jumps in with a time of 18.32. So that's the fastest that we've seen so far, 18.32 seconds. For Quinn Unga there of Canada. The Canadians in good form. 4 Canadians through to the top 16 today. 4 Americans as well. There's a couple of Swedes in there. 2 Japanese athletes and a Korean, South Korean, Rihu Kim, which he'll be taking to the course in a couple of athletes' time. And we've got John Orgeldinger of Germany also. And Noe Lemay of France. So that is the way it stacks up. That is the score for Quinn Unga, 71.74, as he edges into the lead ahead of his countryman, Louis Bouguy. And now the first of the Americans, Freddie Mickle, on course. Skier's left line with a cork 7 and a solid landing and straight into the midsection rhythm, and putting in a fantastic run so far at the midway point. The skis and the knees being held beautifully together there. The upper body nice and still. Whoa, a nice multiple twister, but instability on landing. That is a shame. 19.86 seconds, so he's under 20 seconds. It's a reasonable time for speed. What a shame about that little bit of instability on landing from this jump. He just got a little bit of a dodgy takeoff. For that cork 10, cork 720, I think that was, down at the bottom. Backflip with a double twist. corkscrewed or off axis as it was rotated, and just that problem on landing there. So he will have lost a few little points there, but the turns on the midsection were absolutely fantastic, as was the landing from the first jump. So he may well have done enough there to get himself up into one of the top 2 spots. Let's see which way it stacks up for Freddie Mickle of the USA. Remember, we've already seen Americans take the... or 3 Americans get through to the top 6 in the women's competition. Let's see how Freddie Mickle gets on. It's a 60.63 as his score comes through. He slots into 3rd place. Remember, it is only the top 6 who will progress through to today's super final, as the next athlete, Ri-Hoo Kim of South Korea, gets his World Junior Championship campaign underway in this finals. Cork 1080. It's a big start to the run, and he manages to land it too. He is hammering down that midsection of the course, looking very good. This is brilliant mogul skiing from the young Korean. Goes big on the second jump as well. Coming a long way down that hill, covering the distance in 18.64 seconds. So I think that's the 2nd fastest time that we've seen. The difficulty of the jumps was huge as well, with a cork 10 up the top. And that cork 7 with a grab down the bottom. Almost came unstuck on landing, but manages to stay on his skis as he crosses the line. But he was blasting down that midsection and will have racked up some big turn points for that. Ri-Hoo Kim is an athlete to watch, no question about that. Making a name for himself here. One of the youngest in the competition. 17 years old only. And with a 62.36 total score, he slots into 3rd place. But his turns on that midsection were super dynamic and some of the best that we've actually seen in the competition so far, for my money. John Ergeldinger of Germany, next to ski. Backflip with a nice grab. Good popped up airtime. Nice airtime and superb rhythm on the midsection from the German. He's looking good. A nice still upper body. Look at the head and shoulders are hardly moving. The lower limbs doing all the work on this World Junior Championship course. A nice twisting invert on the bottom as well. He claims it across the line. 20.1 seconds. So not a bad turnout for speed either from John Ergeldinger of Germany. Nice landing from that second jump. Gets the twists into the second jump. He didn't put any into the first jump, but he got a nice big grab, and the airtime was good. So as an all-round performance, Ergeldinger of Germany will get a decent score on this one, I am sure. And it is a good score. The first athlete, he's gone to 73. The first athlete to go past 73, 73.46. John Ergeldinger moves into the lead as we look back up to the top of the course for the next of the Canadians. Maverick Sauvé, the third of 4 Canadian men in this competition, with the D-spin up top. Nice landing. Gets into the rhythm of the midsection. The skis being pulled apart on a number of occasions there. Good rhythm, but a few form breaks. But so far, not a bad overall performance. He's moving fast as well. Cork 7 with a nailed landing on the bottom section. It's a good time, under the 20-second mark, giving him 14.54 points. So he's the third fastest man down so far. And some nice turns on that midsection. 1 or 2 little form breaks as the skis were getting pulled apart a little bit there. So he's not going to be getting quite the turn points as some of the others, but the airs were good and the speed was good. So remember, it's a combination of all the elements here in Freestyle Moguls. And Maverick Sauvé of Canada doing a decent job of it there. I don't think he will challenge the lead position of John Ergeldinger of Germany at this stage. And the score comes through for the Canadian, 68.18. He's up into 4th place. Remember, the men in this round of 16 looking for a place in the top 6. They will be the super finalists. At the moment, Orgeldinger for Germany leads, Unger of Canada, Boogie of Canada, and now Sauvé of Canada in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot. As we look back up top for another Canadian, Simon Philippon Fougère on the skier's right line. We haven't seen too many of the men use this line. I think he might be the first one, in fact. Nice rhythm on the midsection, a nice still upper body position. Cork 7, and he nails the landing on that second jump. 18.25. I think that is the fastest time that we have seen today. This, the second jump. That corkscrewed or off-axis manoeuvre. Coming a long way down the outrun from that jump, landing pretty far down the hill. Gives you an idea of the airtime he's got. Like I say, I think the fastest time of the day so far from Fougère, and some good turns and great jumps in there too. So that'll be a good all-round score. He goes well past the 70 mark with a 73.47, just ahead of Orgeldinger, who is on 73.46. Remember, it is a clean slate when they go through to the super final. So the scores are scratched back to 0, and it's the best run that then wins the day. Right now, it is Noé Lemay for France on course. Skier's left line on the opposite side of the course. The Frenchman looking good on the midsection. A couple of little form breaks in turns. Gets a nice big backflip on that bottom jump. 18.97 seconds. So pretty fast. One of the faster times of the day. Probably about the third or fourth or fifth fastest perhaps. He's up there in the top section when it comes to speed. There, the second jump, the backflip with an iron cross. Bangs in a good landing. Lands about... lands about 3 skis lengths away from the finish line there. It's quite possible almost to out-jump the finish line. We haven't seen anybody do that yet, but we may. There's some big airs being put in, no question about it, by the men today on that second jump. Awaiting the score there for Noé Lemay through the 70-point barrier. Goes into 5th place. 70.57 the score. Maverick Sauvé of Canada sitting on the bubble in 6th spot. Rihu Kim for South Korea unfortunately slips out of that super final spot. And we're on now to Porter Huff of the USA. Sorry, Noel Gravenfors, I should say, for Sweden on course now. Gravenfors for Sweden. Looking good. As he comes into that second jump, gets a nice big twister into that second jump. 19.48 seconds to cover the 195 meters of this World Junior Championship course. Really nails the landing. Gets 1 or 2 turns in, perhaps only, before crossing that line. So a good all-round performance from the Swede. Remember, we saw his teammate in the women's competition, Nova Nilsson, take the top spot. So the Swedes are in form today. Worth pointing out, of course, that Ellis Moberg still awaits the winner of the qualifications. Gravenfors doing enough to get himself up into the top 6. He's in 3rd place at the moment. But there are 6 athletes still to ski. The next of them, Porter Huff of the USA. Huff nails the first jump nicely and gets into that midsection beautifully. Great turns from the American. Some of the best skiing that we've yet seen. Controlling the run beautifully as he pops the cork 7 into the second jump. Huge airtime. Keeps the turns going in the bottom section of the course. 18.96. Not one of the fastest runs that we've seen today, but the turns were outstanding and so were the airs. So a great performance from Porter Huff. The American junior team in Moguls in superb form here in Airolo, Switzerland. For this Junior World Championships, as Porter Hoff stomps that second jump, blazes across the line and awaits his score. That's got to be good enough for a place in the top 6 at the moment. 5 athletes still to ski after him, as these round 1 finalists look for a place in the top 6. And that is good enough for a place in the top 1. 74.32. The lead changes. Fougere of Canada down to second spot as Hoff there goes into the lead. That means that Noé Lemay of France has just dropped out of that top 6. Louis-Philippe Bougie of Canada, the first man down today, sits on the bubble in 6th. On course now, Jaya Cohen for the USA. Couple of little form breaks on the midsection. He needs to control the speed now as he approaches this second jump. He does a good job of that. He's letting the skis run as fast as he can. He over-rotates the second jump just a little bit. Puts a hand down. Sorry, that's Akiro Tamano of Japan. My mistake. I do apologize. Jaya Cohen still awaits up top. That was Akiro Tamano of Japan. And Tamano gets the second jump in nicely. But look, he's just over-rotates it. A hand goes down. And the air judges, the 2 air judges, will dock some points for the Japanese junior as a consequence of that unstable landing. I apologize for the mistake once again of miscalling Jaya Cohen there. Lost my way on the start list momentarily. Akiro Tamano, that was for Japan. We've already seen his teammate Ryomo Hayashi make some mistakes by pushing the speed a little too much. And Tamano perhaps guilty of the same problem. 65.19 his score, so he's out of the top 6 today, which means we won't get to see a Japanese athlete in the men's competition in the super final. Now it is the turn of Jaya Cohen to ski for the USA, the first of the last 4 men to ski, as we look for the super finalists to be named in this World Junior Championships. The American now on skier's left line, a couple of little wobbles, and he's over the top. Oh dear, that is a shame. He just got thrown onto the tails of the skis, and the next mogul, the next jump, took him. You can see the frustration there from Jaya Cohen. What a shame that was, because up until that point, the run had been going well. He just got onto the tails of the skis a little bit, and he was spat out by that course. Well, that shows you what it is like. Instantaneous on a top-end mogul course like this. The course, 195 meters in length at 26 degrees. It's steep, it's fast, and it's bumpy. And these courses are not easy. What a shame that for Cohen of the USA, as he was fired out of that Freestyle Junior World Championship mogul course. So there we go. Only an 8.25 score for him as a consequence of that crash. Thankfully, he has not sustained any injury. As we look back up top for the next of the French athletes, Paul-André Gay moves over onto the other side of the course with a nice big cork 7 up top. Lovely rhythm on the midsection. Great skiing, very balanced, rhythmic, fast as well. Oh, a little trip just before the second jump. He gets it in clean. 20.11, so he possibly was cost a little bit of speed there as a consequence of that little wobble just as he came in right there. There it was. He did well to get that jump in so well. Cork 7 with a grab. He landed it too, but unfortunately, little mistake there could cost some points for the Frenchman. He's obviously rather disappointed. He hasn't waited around to find out what his score is going to be. Two athletes still to ski in this first round of the men's final. Camden Lewis, the next of them. Ellis Moberg will follow him up. And Paul-Andre Gay going into 10th place there. So, Louis Bougie of Canada holds on to that 6th spot, the last of the super final spots, with two men still to ski. So nervous moments for the Canadian as Camden Lewis for the USA gets his campaign underway on skier's left line. Looking good on the midsection. This is where the speed needs to be controlled. We've seen his teammate Cohen make mistakes right about now. No such problems, though, for Camden Lewis as he gets a clean run in with a 17.98 seconds, so it's a fast time as well. 17.6 speed points. That makes him the fastest man down so far. Camden Lewis of the USA absorbing the takeoff on that second jump. That's a good way of maintaining speed as well. And that could potentially see the lead change at the top. Porter Huff, his teammate, leads at the moment with 74.32. I think this could perhaps see a position for Camden Lewis in the top 3, perhaps? Well, the top 4. Okay, close. 73.29. Good enough for a place in the super final. He was second in qualifications today. This next man, Ellis Moberg of Sweden, was the best. He's the last man down in this first round of the final. And it is Ellis Moberg of Sweden with a nice big backflip 360 on the top jump. Beautiful turns on the midsection. He was best in qualifications, and so far he is looking good in finals too. Ellis Moberg of Sweden putting in a great run here in round 1 of the finals at the World Junior Championships. It's an 18.96 second run. Not the fastest we've seen. Somewhere in the middle of the field when it comes to speed. But those turns on the midsection were absolutely superb from Moberg. And they will score high from the turn judges. There's that backflip with a wild grab on that second jump. Keeps the turns going in the bottom section of the course. It's a great all-round performance from the man who won the qualifications. Has he done enough to win the first round of the final? He only really needs to book himself a place in that super final. Remember, that's the top 6. Louis-Philippe Bougie has been bumped out now into 7th spot, unfortunately, and Ellis won the qualifications, and he has won round 1 of the final as well. So Ellis books himself a place in today's men's super final in the top spot. The Swedes in pole position in both the women's and men's competitions. Porter Huff for the USA in second in the men's. Simon Philippon Fougère for Canada in third. John Orgeldinger of Germany in fourth. Camden Lewis of the USA in 5th place. And the 6th place, last quarter super final berth, going to Sweden's Noel Graven Fors. Unlucky for the 3 Canadians, Quinn Unger, Louis-Philippe Bougie, and Maverick Sauvé as they drop out of that top 6, as does Noé Lemay of France. And Quinn Unger just missing out the Canadian there down into 7th spot. So that is how it stacks up for the men. Like I say, the Swedes in top spot in both the women's and men's competitions today. We are in Airolo in Switzerland, a beautiful little Swiss alpine ski resort with perfect conditions today here at the World Junior Freestyle Championships. That will see 357 athletes competing over the next 4 days in the beautiful municipalities of Airolo and Quinto. Let's take a little bit look around the beauty of the area ahead of those women's and men's super finals. World Junior Championships here in Switzerland over the next 4 days. Beautiful in the summer, and as we have just seen from that little film, absolutely stunning in the winter as well, as it is today here on the Mogul course for the World Junior Championships. That is how things look in the women's competition. They are the 6 super finalists for today. It's a clean slate. The scores are back to 0. It is the best single run now that wins the World Junior single mogul title. 6 women to take to the course in reverse order of their qualifying positions, with Nova Nilsson of Sweden the highest scorer in that last round, and she will get to ski last. Karima Wakim of Australia will get the competition underway. And she does, with a nice backflip truck driver. 1 or 2 little issues on landing, though. Can she control the run? She's fighting for control of this run, and she loses the battle. That is a great disappointment for Wakim. What a shame. It was such a good air up top, but she just didn't quite get the landing, and she was really fighting for control of that run from that point in. We can see what she's capable of with that excellent second jump. But the problems were further up the course. That is a look back at that second jump. No problems there, but the deviation from the fall line, in fact, out of the course altogether, came, unfortunately, for Karima Wakim. But what a talent she is for the future. Some absolutely brilliant skiing from her over the course of today's qualifications and first round final. What a shame she couldn't quite connect it in the super final. So the competition's still wide open with 5 athletes still to ski as we await the score for Karima Wakim. So she didn't actually ski completely out of the course. She does get a score, 41.51, but it means the medals are still, of course, wide open at this point. We've got 3 USA athletes in this top 6 today. Here is the first of them, Victoria Johnson. Lining up on the other side of the course. Skier's right line. It's the same opening jump. Can she control the landing? Yes, she does. She's into the rhythm of that midsection beautifully. Nice turns, a few little breaks in form perhaps, but the rhythm is good. The head and shoulders nice and still. Just a few little breaks in form perhaps when it comes to those turns on the midsection. 22.57, so it's a good speed. Remember, speed accounting for about 25% of the overall scores here. 25 being afforded to airs and 50% on the turns. Now that rhythm was pretty good on the midsection from Johnson. A few little form breaks perhaps. The second jump was good. It's a good all-round performance, and that sets the standard for today's super final. Victoria Johnson awaits her score. That will be the score to beat as she, for now, goes into the gold medal position. We don't know what the score is going to be, but I am confident in saying that she will go into the gold medal position at this stage. After those mistakes that we saw from Karima Wakim of Australia. So awaiting the scores for Victoria Johnson. Remember, 7 judges to decide the winners today. 5 of the judges scoring the turn points. 2 of the judges are scoring the jumps. The clock is also running, and when all 3 values are factored together, an overall total is created for the athlete. They're starting this super final with a score of 0. It's a clean slate super final. And it is the single highest scoring run, of course, that wins the gold medal today. and the title of World Freestyle Junior Championships in single moguls. So we await the score of Victoria Johnson from the 7 judges. The judges today being drawn from Sweden, Korea, Armenia, Japan, Slovenia, Kazakhstan, and France. A beautifully international judging panel, I think you would agree, here for the World Junior Championships. We are in Airolo in Switzerland at the end of what has been a fantastic winter season that, of course, saw the Olympic Games run last month in Milano Cortina, not too far away from where we are now, over the other side of the Italian border. And what a great winter season it has been. That is the new lead score then, 64.23 for Victoria Johnson of the USA. The score to beat today. Eden Kruger, her teammate, next to ski. The same jump once again opens up the run. Can she control that crux point on the landing of the first jump? She does, and she does it well. This is good rhythm on the midsection. Look at how still the head and shoulders are. The hands dictating the rhythm of that midsection run. It's great skiing from Kruger of the USA. 22.95 seconds. Not quite as fast as Johnson, but not far off the pace. The turns on the midsection, I think, were just that little bit better than Victoria Johnson's. Just a little bit neater. That's the sort of thing that the turn judges, of course, are looking for, is that control of the turns on the midsection. That was the second jump. 2 of the judges scoring the 2 jumps of the course, and a nice second jump from Eden Kruger as well. So that would be a good score. The lead at the moment held by Victoria Johnson with 64.23. Johnson in the gold medal position. Where will Kruger go as we await the scores from the judges? Remember, 50% of the score afforded to turns. And I think the turns might just edge it for Eden Kruger. Always a little bit of a risky thing to do, to try and second guess what the judges are going to do. But for my money, the turns were just that little bit better. And the turns were better. It was a 42.8 turn score for Kruger, a 41 for Johnson. And when all told, that gives her a score of 66.46, the new lead score. 3 athletes then now remaining. Japan's Mio Tani, the next of them, with the same jump to open up as we've seen from all the other athletes so far in this women's final. Backflip truck driver. And again, some nice turns on the midsection. Are they as good as Eden Kruger's? Just a few little breaks in form. She's getting bounced around a little bit from bump to bump there. The judges like to see good contact between ski and snow. It's a 22.27 second score. So she's the fastest down so far is Mio Tani. Mio Tani of Japan, the fastest over the distance. But remember, the speed only accounts for 25% of the overall score. The real big one is the turn. And I think those turns on the midsection just not quite as clean as those of Eden Kruger. Kruger currently sitting in the gold medal position with that 66.46. Her teammate, Victoria Johnson, in the silver medal spot on a 64.46. Let's see where Mio Tani goes. Well, the speed gets it. 15.09 to 14.09 on the speed puts Mio Tani up into the gold medal position. Eden Kruger of the USA slipping down into the silver medal spot. The Americans need to respond. Abby McLarnon is on course to do just that. It's a nice opening jump. She puts the brakes on, controls the run nicely as she gets into that midsection. So a good clean landing from the first jump and some beautiful mogul skiing on that midsection. This is looking good on the skier's left line. Abby McLarnon gets a clean jump in, lands it nicely too. On the second jump, the speed is good, 22.61 seconds. Not quite as fast as Mio Tani, who we just saw from Japan. Not quite as fast, but remember, it is about turns. It's about air, and it's about time. The time points were 15.09 for Tani. She's the only athlete to go over 15 for time points at this stage. The current lead total score, 69.07. I wonder, has Abby McLaren done enough to get herself up onto the podium? Are we going to see a change in the lead? Mio Tani sitting in the gold medal spot as we await the scores of Abby McLaren. There certainly was some good turning going on that midsection. No question about that. And she does do enough to go into the top spot, 69.73. America leads with only one athlete remaining. This is Nova Nilsson of Sweden. She was the best in the last round. The scores are back to zero now. She's the last of the super finalists in her bid for gold today at the Junior World Championships. She's on the same line that we've just seen, used by Abby McLaren. One or two little breaks there in form. This is not quite as good as the runs that we saw from her in the qualifications or the final round one. The second air is big though. Nice and clean. What's the speed? 22.53. She's not as fast as the likes of Mio Tani of Japan. She's on roughly level pegging with speed with the American girls. But there were a couple of little breaks in form at that midsection turn. So a little bit of a difficult job for the judges. As we await the score of Nova Nilsson for Sweden. Abby McLaren is knocked down into the silver medal spot. It is gold for Sweden today. Nova Nilsson, winner of the final round one, but this is the one that counts, the super final. Nova Nilsson, the only athlete in that super final to go past the 70-point barrier, 70.94. Despite those mistakes on the midsection with the turns, she made up for it with the second highest air points, some good speed points. The overall performance good from the Swede. Nova Nilsson is gold medalist, the junior world champion here in Airolo in 2026. Abby McLaren for the USA will take the silver medal, and it is third place, and the bronze medal will go to Mio Tani of Japan. Sweden, the USA, and Japan, the top three today here at the World Junior Championships in Airolo. Eden Kruger slips off the top three. Into fourth spot, Victoria Johnson, her teammate, in fifth, and Karima Wakim of Australia making a couple of mistakes and having to satisfy herself with sixth place today. Not bad at the Junior World Championships, and a great women's super final. Confirmation of those positions and the scores today at the FIS Freestyle Junior World Ski Championships here in Airolo in Switzerland. Beautiful conditions and some fantastic skiing in that women's super final. Only 6 runs remaining now in today's competition. Day one on 4 days of competition that sees 357 athletes aged between 14 and 19, competing, representing 21 countries in the disciplines of freestyle moguls, dual moguls, and aerials. There'll be team competitions in there as well over the course of the weekend. You can catch all the rest of the action of the weekend, of course, here on FIS TV. And for now, we have 6 athletes remaining in today's competition as we await the men's super final. 2 Swedes through to the top 6 today in the men's competition. Here is the first of them lining up to get the men's super final underway today. Noel Gravenfors. His teammate Ellis Moberg will ski last. So the Swedes starting and finishing today's top 6 super final for the men. Once again, the scores are back to zero. It's the best of the next 6 runs that wins gold and the Junior World title today. Nice twisting, corkscrewed invert on that top jump. And great turns on the midsection from Gravenfort. This is good skiing. He's letting the skis run, getting bounced around a little bit as he comes into the second jump, perhaps just about over-rotates the second jump, holds on to it, but the air judges are going to dock him down for that over-rotation on the second air. He was carrying a lot of speed on that midsection, and he just started getting thrown around from bump to bump as he came into that second jump. And there he's right on the tails, fighting to stay on his skis. He manages to cross the line on his skis, but the air judges will dock him for that over-rotation. So that turns what would have been a fantastic run from Noel Gravenfors into a little bit of a disappointing score, I suspect. 5 athletes still to ski in this super final to decide the FIS Freestyle Ski Junior World Champion in single moguls today. We've seen Sweden claim gold in the women's competition, thanks to Nova Nilsson and Noel Gravenfors, I should say, receives his score there. 66.77, the score to beat then for Gravenfors of Sweden. Next to ski, the first of 2 Americans in the top 6, Camden Lewis, opens up his account nicely on that skier's left line. Looking good on the midsection. Is he getting bounced around a little bit too much? Is he making the same mistakes that the Swede just made? Maybe carrying a little too much speed on that midsection? Well, he does hold on to it, crosses the line, claims it with an 18.76 seconds, so 16.28 the score there for his speed. He's the fastest of the 2 that we have seen ski so far. Just that little bit faster than Gravenfors. And that second jump, if we compare the 2, the American Camden Lewis there getting a much cleaner landing, and I think it will be the airs that are going to separate those 2. Gravenfors with 66.76 was in the gold medal position, but I suspect he might be bumped, and he is. 74.11. Camden Lewis storms into the top spot after that run. As we look back up top for John Orgeldinger of Germany. 74.12 then, the new lead score in this men's super final. Orgeldinger for Germany opens up with a nice big backflip. Doesn't put any twist in there, but gets a really nice, long, well-held grab. And the skiing on the midsection is good. Oh, a little slip there, perhaps. He's recovered well, though. Back into the rhythm as he comes into the second jump. Spins it up for that one, over-rotates it, and he throws it away. That is a shame. There was some beautiful bits of skiing there from the German. But he over-rotates and backslaps that second jump, throwing away an opportunity, I suspect, for a place on the podium today. That will put him into 3rd place at the moment with 3 men still to ski. And here it is. This is where things came unstuck. Over-rotating. Touching down on landing. And throwing away those air points. Going for the cork 1080, so going for big degree of difficulty on that second jump. But unfortunately, paying the price of the risk. That is the problem in freestyle sports. The payoff between risk and reward. Always the balance in the freestyle events. And Orgeldinger for Germany there. Getting himself into position. He knows he's going to go into 3rd spot, I think, as a consequence of that crash from the second jump. Camden Lewis of the USA in the gold medal position at the moment. 74.11 the score to beat. It's a 45.04 for the German. But yes, 74.11 the score with 3 athletes remaining. We've got a Canadian, an American, and a Swede still to go. This is Simon Philippon Fougère for Canada. Going for gold here at the Junior World Championships on skier's right line. Backflip 360. Hammering down the midsection. The Canadian looking good, carrying good rhythm and a lot of speed on that midsection. Is he too fast though? Can he control it? Yes, he does. Gets the cork 7 on the second jump. Crosses the line with the fastest time of the day. So he's got speed on his side. No question about that. Simon Philippon Fougère of Canada, the fastest man across the 195 metres of this course today. A brilliant bit of skiing. And a solid landing on that second jump. But the speed was impressive. Certainly the fastest man down. And the turns on the midsection were good too. Camden Lewis of the USA leading at present with a 74.11 score. We could see a change at the top, and there is the score for the Canadian, 72.87. It's not enough. He gets himself up into that silver medal position with 2 men still to ski. Porter Hoff of the USA next up. His teammate Camden Lewis is in the top spot at the moment. Porter Hoff second best in the last round and looking good now. Nice skiing on the midsection. Controls it nicely. Into the cork 7 with a grab on the bottom jump. He claims it. He's happy with that one. Now his time points 15.15. So he's a little bit slow. Slower than the top 3 at the moment. The question, has he done enough with the turns and the airs to upset the top 3 positions? He may well have done. That's the second jump. Cork 7, but with extra points for that grab. Camden Lewis of the USA leading with a 74.11, and Porter Hoff goes just ahead, 74.49. The Americans in the top 2 spot there, top two spots. Hoff in the gold medal position, Lewis in the silver medal position, Fougère for Canada in third, with the last man down in today's competition, Ellis Moberg. Best in the last round. Can he do it once again now that the medals are due to be decided? Backflip with a full twist on the top jump. Brilliant skiing. Classic Swedish technical skiing on that midsection. Brilliant stuff. Goes cork 7 on the second jump. Nails the landing. Crosses the line in 18.87 seconds. So he's not quite as fast as Fougère of Canada. But he's faster than Porter Hoff of the USA, the current leader. Brilliant skiing from Ellis Moberg there of Sweden. We've already seen his teammate in the women's competition, Nova Nilsson, take the gold medal there. Can they do it again now in the men's event? Ellis Moberg awaits his score. We know that the speed is up there in the top 3, but the turns and air are really what are going to make the difference. It's a big overall score, 79.47. Ellis Moberg, the winner of the last round and the winner of the super final and the world junior title today. What a brilliant opening day to the World Junior Championships for Team Sweden. Gold in the women's competition. And now gold in the men's. Ellis Moberg congratulating his fellow athletes. Porter Hoff drops down into second spot. And Camden Lewis, also of the US team, in third place. There they are, the top 3 at the FIS Freestyle Ski Junior World Championships here in Airolo in Switzerland. Ellis Moberg on top. Porter Hoff of the USA in second, and Camden Lewis, also of the USA, in third place today. A brilliant super final from the men. And victory, once again, for Sweden, thanks to Ellis Moberg. 79.47, a convincing win of the Junior World Single Mogul title. Disappointment for the French athletes as they didn't manage to get through to that top 6 today. And the lone Canadian, after 4 Canadians getting through to the top 16, the lone Canadian super finalist, Simon Philippon-Fougère, the fastest man down the course today, but having to settle for 4th place ultimately. But a brilliant overall competition on day 1 here at the Junior World Championships in Airolo. That concludes the single mogul portion of these championships. The athletes will, of course, be going side by side later in the weekend in the dual mogul competition, as well as dual mogul team event as well. We've got aerials to look forward to tomorrow, and there'll be an aerials team competition at the weekend also. My name is Richard Cobbing. Thank you for joining us here on FIS TV today, here in Airolo at the Junior World Championships. A great day 1, and I hope you can come back for more and join me as this brilliant competition progresses over the course of this weekend. But from Airolo, it is goodbye for now.